Welcome back, everyone. This week, our study of Psalms brings us to Psalm 71. Psalm 71, and this is one that Brother Waycaster has called, and I would agree, a psalm sunset. So, right off the bat, what's unique about Psalm 71? What stands out about it? Two things that I would note, and they'll be reiterated here. I have a brief quote from Kaufman and from Barnes, two well-known commentators, Old Testament commentators. Two things jump out. One, it uses a lot of language that's typical of David, so a lot of vocabulary and phrases that you see in the Davidic Psalms. This one doesn't have an author attributed. As with most, certainly towards the beginning of the book, it is tradition. People assume that it's one of David's psalms. Certainly, no reason not to. Again, a lot of the language would point that way. So that's the first thing. It uses a lot of very common vocabulary and phrases that you find in other psalms. The second thing is, even though there's no specific occasion noted for it, most agree that this is a psalm that's written in toward the end of one's life, reflecting. He certainly reflects upon current problems that he's facing, as is the case in many psalms. But this one is generally believed to be David towards the end of his life. So you might liken it somewhat to Ecclesiastes for Solomon. With Solomon, we have the three books attributed to him: Song of Solomon in his youth, Proverbs, in his middle years, and then Ecclesiastes in his sunset years, as it were. And so Psalm 71 may potentially fit that for David. So here's something that Kaufman has to say about it. He says, no less than 23 lines in this psalm are taken from other psalms of David. It's much more reasonable to suppose that such a phenomenon was a product of David's remembering words and phrases he previously used than it is to suppose that Jeremiah or some other alleged minstrel was so familiar with the Psalms from his constant reading of them that he would automatically substitute words of David for his own vocabulary. So there he's speaking a bit about the question of authorship. Again, it fits David, and to Kaufman's point, it's more reasonable to think that, again, if this is written in his later years, as perhaps the psalm itself suggests, he's using a lot of these familiar lines from his own works. Again, rather than, as he says, someone else adopting that for his own use. Barnes notes this regarding the occasion of it. It says, the occasion is not known. It falls into the class of psalms that refer to the trials of the righteous. It was composed when old age was drawing near, and in view of the trials and blessings of life, as considered for the contemplation of its approaching close. This psalm is one of the most valuable portions of the Bible to a certain class of mankind, and maybe to any of the living, as suggesting the proper reflections of a good man as the infirmities of age draw on, and as he reviews the mercies and the trials of the past. G. Campbell Morgan also says, preeminently a song of the aged, and like old age, it is reminiscent. The singer passes from memory to hope and from experience to praise. Okay, so hopefully between the three of those, you get the distinct impression that this song is a reflection of a psalmist toward the end of his life, looking back and reflecting somewhat. We have a number of outlines that are given here. I like the one that he actually ended up using the best. So the first four verses, there's a prayer concerning the psalmist's enemies. And one thing you'll note right off the bat about this, even if it is written in his old age, there's still no shortage of enemies round about. Certainly aligns with what we've learned of David's life from our Sunday morning Bible class study. Verses 5 through 8, an acknowledgement of what God had done for him previously. Verses 9 through 18, the bulk of it, a prayer concerning old age. 19 to 21, the psalmist expresses his confidence, and then 22 to 24, closing with praise, as is typical for many a psalm. Okay, so that is Psalm 71. Kind of at a high level, in a nutshell, we'll read through it and then note some of the specific things that one might take away from it. It begins, "In thee, O Lord, do I," and I'll note again as we're reading this, kind of listen for some of these very common phrases and lines that you tend to hear from psalms that we've looked at previously, because again, this psalm uses a lot of lines taken from other psalms. "In thee, O Lord, do I put my trust. Let me never be put to confusion. Deliver me in thy righteousness and cause me to escape. Incline thine ear unto me and save me. Be thou my strong habitation, whereunto I may continually resort. Thou hast given commandment to save me, for thou art my rock and my fortress. Deliver me, O my God, out of the hand of the wicked, out of the hand of the unrighteous and cruel man. For thou art my hope, O Lord God, thou art my trust from my youth. By thee have I been holden up from the womb. Thou art he that took me out of my mother's bowels. My praise shall be continually of thee. I am as a wonder unto many, but thou art my strong refuge. Let my mouth be filled with thy praise and with thy honor all the day." Okay, so first opening verses, I would say somewhat typical. Now 9 through 18, again, this is the bulkiest single segment of the psalm, is where specifically he's driving a bit more at the occasion being he's in his old age, and that if not giving a specific occasion for the psalm gives some sense of the setting for him personally. It says, "Cast me not off in the time of old age, forsake me not when my strength faileth. For mine enemies speak against me, and they that lay wait for my soul take counsel together, saying, God hath forsaken him. Persecute and take him, for there is none to deliver him. O God, be not far from me. O my God, make haste for my help. Let them be confounded and consumed that are adversaries to my soul. Let them be covered with reproach and dishonor that seek my hurt. But I will hope continually, and will yet praise thee more and more. My mouth shall show forth thy righteousness and thy salvation all the day, for I know not the numbers thereof. I will go in the strength of the Lord God. I will make mention of thy righteousness, even of thine only. O God, thou hast taught me from my youth, and hitherto have I declared thy wondrous works. Now also, when I am old and gray-headed, O God, forsake me not, until I've showed thy strength unto this generation, and thy power to every one that is to come. Thy righteousness also, O God, is very high. Who hast done great things, O God, who is like unto thee? Thou which hast showed me great and sore troubles shalt quicken me again, and shalt bring me up again from the depths of the earth. Thou shalt increase my greatness, and comfort me on every side. I will praise thee with the psaltery, even thy truth, O my God. Unto thee will I sing with the harp, O thou Holy One of Israel. My lips shall greatly rejoice when I sing unto thee, and my soul which thou hast redeemed. My tongue also shall talk of thy righteousness all the day long, for they are confounded, for they are brought unto shame that seek my hurt. Okay. Perhaps the most obvious lesson, if you will, that you might take from this particular psalm is that one's old age, one's twilight years, is not the time to quit serving God. Rather, it's a time to press on with even greater determination. It strikes me that you can't help but feel bad for the psalmist here. Again, presumably David. He's clearly knows that he's near the end of his life, and yet he still is eaten up with struggle and these enemies that are just constantly vexing him at every turn. It isn't the time for him to give up. It isn't the time for him to rest. He continues pressing forward. He's determined. He realizes that the goal is nearer than before. Right? If you think of these metaphors that are so often used about life and death, keeping the faith, finishing the race, reaching the crown that awaits at the end. He's right there. He's been going his whole life. He's been struggling, and he realizes he's near the end. That's and I guess again likening life to a race. You may think of Hebrews 12, the opening verses. When you're within sight of the finish line, right, is hardly the time to stop moving, to stop running. So this psalm is a good reminder of that. It's also a reminder that God grants victory over one's enemies, even if those enemies are continuing to confound you decades into your life, even into your old age. God is still there, and that victory is still very much there. When God is for us, the wicked are against us. Again, no matter how old you are, it doesn't matter. When the wicked are against us, God is for us. Right? This is a thought that comes specifically from verse 4 here in this psalm. All right, so Psalm 71, a great psalm. If you're looking for a Bible passage that speaks to the idea that even amidst the trials and the struggles of old age and the infirmities that come along with it, that one can still maintain faithfulness, and one can still have this determined kind of a mindset to keep going, to keep pressing toward the mark, as Paul puts it, despite those things. All right, Psalm 71. Lord willing, next time we will continue on with 72. Thank you all for your attention today.